Hello, today is the 11th of July 2025. So this is going to be a video about my holiday with my two sisters in London. So from the 2nd of July until the 6th of July we were in London. My birthday was on the 4th, so it was kind of like my birthday trip. Like, all of us are really sad to be back home because we all enjoyed it so much and we all loved it and we really miss it. And honestly, I wouldn't have thought that we would like a city as much as we like London, because all three of us are absolutely not city girls at all. All of us usually get really overwhelmed in cities or just don't enjoy being in them. But all of us just really loved London, and Amy and Alana even said that they would move there and that they want to move there and that they felt really comfortable there and they didn't feel judged and things like that. And I was just impressed by like the city itself, because there was so many amazing buildings. Like, no matter what street we walked in, like around every corner there was just these amazing buildings and like amazing architecture that I was just so impressed with. Like, I didn't expect the city itself to be as pretty as it was. And we were in a nice area, I guess. We were in the Victoria area. Everything was kind of called Victoria, like the Victoria bus station, the Victoria train station, Victoria Street, Victoria this and that. I don't know, that area was so nice, and we were half an hour away from the Big Ben, half an hour walk, we walked everywhere, and only like 25 minutes from Buckingham Palace. So we were like at a perfect place, and yeah, all of us were really excited for this holiday, and I am so proud that we made it happen, because usually I in the past had like dreams or like wishes, you know, something like this, where I always said to myself, yeah, it's not going to happen anyway, or yeah, there's no way that's going to happen to me. And with this holiday specifically, I was like, I'm going to make it happen. I can do things to make it happen. And that's exactly what we did. I had the idea to go to a nice city for my birthday, for my 20th birthday, because I wanted to make it memorable. And then we kind of talked about what cities we could go to, and we decided on London. And then we really, in March, all of this happened in March, we really planned it all and we booked the flights and we made all of it happen. And I'm so proud that all of us, like, that we managed it and we took it into our own hands, and that I didn't, let those thoughts, be right, because they're just simply not. Like, things aren't going to happen if you don't put the effort in. Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, I was like, I'm gonna make this happen. It's not like a dream and a fantasy that I can never experience. It's something that I can really go and do. And that's exactly what we did. Yeah, like, everything went really fine. Like, all the travel there as well was very easy. I don't remember really anything being bad or complicated or whatever. And we arrived at our hotel pretty early during the day. We arrived, I think, 11:30 or 12, and then we had to kind of wait a bit more because check-in was only at 12:30. But everyone there was also really friendly, and we immediately felt comfortable as well, even though the hotel itself reminded us a bit of Fawlty Towers. I don't know if anyone knows that show. It's a very old show, but my dad loves it, and it just kind of reminded us of that hotel, because it wasn't a 5-star hotel. It wasn't like super clean and new and, beautiful, but we just kind of felt good there nevertheless. And our room actually looked very nice. Like, the rooms looked nicer than like the hallway or the lounge area, sort of. So yeah, we were really happy with our room. But nevertheless, like we just, I don't know, we just kind of were fine there and we just felt very comfortable. And while we had to wait for another while, we decided to just go outside and walk up and down this street by our hotel. And we immediately loved the area we were in. It seemed very like clean, and we loved the buildings, and like just, you know, being there together. We were all like in a good mood there, even though we just had like a journey you know, behind us and we were tired. We only had like 3 hours of sleep and things like that. But we were like just so excited to be there, I think, and so happy that we arrived at our hotel and made it. And what was really exciting then was that we saw the telephone posts, which are so famous in London. And I don't know, we kind of, I think, went there as well because of One Direction. In 2020, we were like obsessed with One Direction. We bought all their albums, even though they weren't a band anymore, but we bought all their albums. We listened to all their songs. We watched their interviews. We bought their movies. We were like so into them. And I think, you know, going to London now as well was like, oh my God, One Direction was here, and they made, you know, one of their album covers is on this on a telephone post. And I don't know, it was kind of like we're kind of making our childhood dream also come true a bit, that we just get a bit closer to like One Direction, where they came from, and just knowing like, oh my God, they were here and they lived there. And it was just, I don't know, it was just like such a nice feeling as well. And of course, knowing like there's so many celebrities that live in London or that were in London, like it's a very like celebrity sort of place. And that was really exciting for us as well. But yeah, I don't know, we then immediately took pictures at these telephone posts, and me and Delana made like a TikTok trend. Yeah, it's a One Direction TikTok trend. And we don't post them publicly, but the two of us just wanted to do that. And that to me showed as well like how much my self-esteem increased and my social anxiety decreased. Like it's insane. Like, oh my God, a couple months ago, or if I think of a couple years ago, I would have been so embarrassed to do that, and I would have completely never for a single second participated in that TikTok trend. I would have completely wanted to run the other direction and would have never ever like done it, never. And now there was always so many people around us, or people on a busy street, you know, driving. There was definitely people that could have seen us. We even did that trend in front of the Big Ben, and that was like the most crowded place. And so it was like, you know, everyone could have seen us, but we didn't care. It was, even though while we were doing it, we were like, oh my God, just be over fast. And afterwards, you're like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But the thing is, we still did it, and we still had so much fun, and we would do it again and again. And that just shows how much my social anxiety decreased. And I was just like, I really don't care what people think right now, because I know that looking back on these TikToks is going to be so fun in a couple years time, or even, you know, very soon. Like even now we look at them in between, because it's just, I don't know, it's just all about memories and having a good time. Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah, so then later that day we went to Buckingham Palace and we walked around there, and then walked through like the Buckingham Park as well, which was, yeah, so nice. And then we went to Hyde Park, which was another 10-15 minutes walk from there. And Hyde Park is so pretty. We only went to like a small area of it, like a small part of it, because Hyde Park is huge, it's massive. But that small tiny part was so beautiful already, with a fountain and all these colourful flowers and like an arch, yeah, that we could like just walk through. And I just love nature, and I didn't expect London to have as much nature in it as it actually did. So that was another bonus. And I don't know, I just love nature, and I loved Hyde Park as well. And we didn't stay there for too long because it got late already and we were really tired. You know, we just had the journey behind us. So all of us were kind of a bit cranky by then, and our feet were starting to hurt as well from all the walking we did. But Buckingham Palace, I mean, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Like, that place, and I love that statue. I don't even know what it's called, but there was like a golden angel on top of it, and that statue I was actually more impressed with than Buckingham. For some reason, I was like so drawn to that golden angel statue, and it's just so pretty as well. Like, there's nature around it, and there was so many people again, but we didn't feel overwhelmed by the people. We didn't, you know, we just were ourselves. We were very confident and we just loved being together. And it then started to get really warm as well. So we were really lucky with the weather. Like, we had good weather throughout, you know, our whole stay. And that just, yeah, was another bonus, which was really nice, even though we all agreed beforehand as well we wouldn't let the weather affect us. Like, if it's raining, then it's raining and we're still gonna have a good time. But yeah, it was definitely really good that the sun was shining. Yeah, all of us beforehand, before this trip, decided, you know, we're just not gonna let these small annoyances affect us. We're just gonna have a good time. We're gonna focus on having a good time. And I think, yeah, we kind of managed that in the end, even though there was some bickering in between. I'd say especially between me and Amy again, because if you've seen my last video, it probably explains why, but we're very different in many ways. And I think in between this, the same thing kind of came up, or it wasn't necessarily that we again bickered about that, but I think we were still a bit annoyed at each other from that and because of that. And so that's why we got annoyed at each other faster than during the holiday, and in between we just bickered. But it was never like a huge big drama where one of us like walked off and hated the other person, you know. It was just like a normal sibling thing, I guess. But we aren't always like that we bicker so much. But yeah, in between it was like that, but it was still fine. And even though the first evening I noticed, oh yeah, you know, we're bickering and like, is this going to ruin the holiday? Is it going to be like that the whole time? I kind of felt like a hope was lost and like the holiday was going to be ruined. And then I was kind of also beating myself up a bit, which I noticed pretty quickly, I would say. But I was telling myself that it's probably my fault and I'm probably the one who's to blame and who could be better and who should work on herself more. And then I noticed like how my whole mood kind of sank, and I then had kind of like almost given up on the belief that this holiday could be good. I just then thought, no, it won't be. It'll be a total disaster and a failure, and I'm not going to enjoy myself. I'm just going to be in a bad mood the whole time, and I won't be able to focus on the good things, but I'll just keep thinking in a negative way and feeling down and stuff. And then I was really like, I don't want this. I don't want to be like that right now. And I was like, what can I do about that? So in the evening, I always filled out my Thrive journal, which I always do. So as you know, I'm working on the Thrive program. And so there's this journal that you fill out every day, technically only for like 6 weeks, but I'm on week 35. So I've continued doing it because I've just noticed it's helping me very much. And basically when I noticed how like I had almost like given up hope and how I felt so down, I was like thinking in a very much catastrophic way and very much black and white, like it's just ruined. I was like, no, it's not. So let me just see what I can do about this. So I then noticed so I noticed many things that were going on. I noticed also the perfectionist thinking style, because I was like, if the holiday isn't perfect, so if it isn't without any arguments, then it's a failure and I'm just going to remember it as a bad holiday. Then I noticed, look, it doesn't need to be perfect in order to be memorable, and in order to be a holiday that I love. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. I was then seeing like we can bicker in between and we can be annoyed at each other in between, and we can still have an amazing holiday that we'll remember. I then noticed it doesn't need to be that black and white. It doesn't need to be that perfect, you know, in order to be enjoyable and memorable. And then I noticed, obviously, I was beating myself up and blaming myself, telling myself I'm probably the one to blame and I'm probably the one who should work on ourselves in order so we get along better or whatever. But then I noticed all three of us weren't in the best mood. So it wasn't just on me. All three of us that evening, you know, we were tired from the entire journey. We had only had 3 hours of sleep that night. We walked around a lot, saw so many new things. Like all of that is, you know, tiring as well. And, you know, I wasn't the only one that was in a bad mood. I noticed my sister Amy was totally in a bad mood as well. And Alana was very tired and then, you know, getting annoyed as well faster. But I'd say she was the one who was, yeah, I mean, no, she also got annoyed in between. But so then I really was like, the weight isn't all on me. It's on all of us. All of us could have been better. All of us could have been nicer. All of us could have tried harder. But it's also like, okay that all of us were annoyed a bit and kind of tired in the evening. Like, you know, look at the journey we just had and like what we did the whole day. It was like go, go, go the whole time, really. Yeah, it was like, you know, a full day. So it's very understandable, and this does not mean that the entire holiday is ruined. I then said, okay, what can I do so that I don't let this mood that I'm in right now affect me tomorrow or the day after? What can I do? So I was like, because I was noticing I was being disappointed in myself that I was feeling a bit annoyed, or that I was even feeling like, oh, maybe this holiday is ruined. I was like disappointed in myself for thinking that way. And then I was like, okay, so how about I take this holiday as an opportunity to learn more about my thinking and about how I work and how my brain works. Seeing, you know, noticing when I get annoyed, noticing when I lose my patience, noticing when I beat myself up, noticing those things, learning more about myself. So again, seeing the holiday doesn't need to be perfect. I'm allowed to be human. I'm allowed to have emotions. It doesn't need to, you know, seem like a perfect YouTuber lifestyle where they enjoy the entire holiday, which is probably very fake as well. So I can just, you know, I can be myself and just learn from myself. And that really was then my focus for the entire holiday as well. Not telling myself I need to be perfect, I need to enjoy every moment, I need to always be in a good mood. But be like, no, I can learn from myself. That's my focus, learning, so that for other times to come I can snap out of moods faster and I can enjoy things more, and I don't immediately think in like a black and white way. And I also focused on just thriving, just having a good time, not giving attention to negative thoughts, not giving attention to thoughts that are beating me up, just not focusing on that, and instead focusing on thriving and just having a good time regardless of what happens, just enjoying it. Yeah, I think that's the main things, and that really helped me to like set the focus for the next day. And that day then was actually my favorite day, because even though, yeah, we were still annoyed in between at each other and sometimes a bit stressed about like, okay, where can we find something to eat? How far is it to walk? And, you know, sometimes it was a bit annoying and stressful, but overall, we had a lovely time and we really enjoyed it and we got along and we were in a much better mood because we had, you know, slept well that night. And yeah, it was like really lovely that day. So I really, all that I just said was basically my focus for the day. And that really set, you know, my mindset to be very much more helpful. And then that evening, like that day, we had two attractions. We had the London Eye and the river cruise. And while we were going there, we were walking past Big Ben. And I have to say, like, before I went to London, I was most excited to see Big Ben. For some reason, I don't really know. But I was just really excited to see it. And then being there at Big Ben, for some reason, I felt like some sort of warmth when I was there. I felt, I guess, a bit mesmerized as well, because it was so impressive, and I loved the gold at the top of the Elizabeth Tower, is what it's actually called. The Big Ben is only the clock inside, but it's actually called the Elizabeth Tower. So I loved the gold around the top of it, and for some reason, like, the details at it, and just like, I think the moment of realizing we are in freaking London, we are at the Big Ben, like, what is going on? That was just an amazing moment, I think, and I just loved that. And then the London Eye, I think all of us expected more from it for some reason. So all of us were a bit like, okay, it wasn't that impressive as we thought it would be, but I was still very grateful that we were able to go on it and see London from above. And we really loved the river cruise though. It was so nice, and I think the river cruise was about, I think, like 35 minutes long or something, and we went down the river, and then once we passed under the Tower Bridge, we then turned around and went back. And there was a guy, like a tour guide, or I don't know, what are they called, like a guy who was basically talking the whole time and explaining what the buildings meant. He was so funny. He made us laugh so much. All three of us just loved him. He was so funny, and there's now so many kind of inside jokes that we keep reminding each other of, being like, oh yeah, there's Superman flying around, because he made it like really fun. And usually we don't really like someone talking the whole time while we're trying to take in the attractions around us, but he just made it so enjoyable that all three of us wouldn't have wanted it any other way. And I just love the water in general, and I loved being on the water, and I just felt good there in that moment. I just felt fine, and I'm tearing up. I just felt so fine. And I noticed how I had forgotten about my problems, and how I was just smiling and enjoying it. And even though the world wasn't perfect, it didn't need to be, because in that moment I was just fine. And I absolutely loved it. And yeah, that was one of our favorite moments in the holiday. And it's something I'll definitely always remember and keep close to heart. I just love those moments where where you just really fall into the moment that you're in, and you really just take in what's around you, and you're really just there with yourself, and you forget about everything that's wrong, which isn't even wrong, and you forget about all your problems that aren't actually your problems, because if you can forget about them, if you can move on from them, then they don't actually exist. They aren't actually your problems. It's just something in your mind. Yeah, I don't know. I love those moments where you're just there, and you just forget about everything else, and it's so amazing. Yeah. Then the next day was my birthday, and for some reason, which is not a mystery, it again got to do with my thoughts, I wasn't in the best mood throughout the whole morning. And we had this sea life aquarium that morning. That was our attraction for the day. And even though I love being around animals and it was a nice aquarium and stuff, I just wasn't in the best mood. And even though while we were going there, I was okay. And then in the aquarium, I don't know, my mood sank more and more. I think because I was noticing my sister Amy was like basically filming and photographing the whole experience, and she wasn't just being there and enjoying the moment with us. Like the camera was always her main focus kind of throughout the whole holiday as well, but especially there, like every new aquarium that we got to, every new like tank of animals that we got to, she just pulled out the camera. And I think at some point that just annoyed me because I wanted to be there with my sisters and just enjoy it and laugh with them and joke with them, but instead she was always like on the phone filming stuff. And I noticed then as well, like, look, if she wants to do that and if that's her main priority, then that's her responsibility and she needs to deal with the consequences if there are any. So I was then trying to talk myself down, being like, look, I don't need to get annoyed at what she's doing. I can still have a good time with myself and by myself. Then I was a small bit annoyed by the fact that I did get annoyed, you know, that she was with the camera the whole time. But yeah, I then tried to just talk myself down again, being like, it's okay, like, yeah, I'm just gonna have a good time, and if she really needs to have the camera around, then that's what she needs to do. And in between, I tried to gently ask her or tell her, like, you know, you don't need to film everything, like, just enjoy it as well. But yeah, she then did keep pulling out the camera. Then though, I think we went to Trafalgar Square then, and on the way back from, and at Trafalgar Square there was actually another attraction that we went to, which was free. It was, I think, the National Arts Museum, I think that's what it was called, or something like that. And we didn't have to pay anything, it was free, and we didn't expect that to be there. Like we didn't plan to go to Trafalgar Square to go to that museum, but it ended up being there. We were like, let's just have a look, because we didn't really have much else planned that day. We just said we're gonna go to Trafalgar Square and then walk back through Buckingham Park. But the Arts Museum was really nice. Like there was thousands of pictures there, thousands of artsy stuff. And I think Amy had a really good time there, because I think she enjoys art the most, even though all three of us are very, I'd say, talented in art. We got that from our mom. But Amy, I'd say, would be the most into art. And she's doing a lot of crafts here at home as well, which are very impressive. So she had a good time, which was nice to see. And me and Alana just enjoyed looking at some pictures as well. And in between we just sat down because our feet were so sore. Like the amount of walking we did, our feet were so sore. But yeah, then we went to Buckingham Park and we sat down there for a little bit just to relax and not walk anymore. There, the three of us also weren't in the best mood, because I think we were tired again from everything, and we were kind of thirsty. We had water with us, but we had drank it all, so we needed more water. And then that kind of was a bit annoying because it was really expensive, the shop there. And I don't know, we were just a bit annoyed then. But after taking a break for a couple of minutes, we then felt better. And on the way back, we had to walk through Buckingham Park. And then what we also didn't expect was that there was like an actual lake in the middle of it with a bridge. I think it was called the Blue Bridge. And I, in that moment, was like, this is the highlight of my day. This is the highlight of my birthday. Because again, I was right by the water, which I didn't expect. And there was ducks and other animals and people picnicking, and the vibes were so nice. And when we were taking pictures and videos as well, other people were laughing with us, or we took pictures for other people as well because they asked us to. And on one side of the bridge we could see the London Eye, and on the other side we could see Buckingham Palace. So it was like so beautiful, and the nature was like blossoming. It was so green, and the sun was out, and oh my god, that was like such a beautiful moment as well. And I'd say that was definitely the highlight of my birthday, because my birthday overall was all of our least favorite day, which is okay as well because it was my birthday trip, this whole thing. And yeah, but I did want my birthday to be a bit more, I guess, special than it ended up being. But you know, that's okay as well. Yeah, and I think then that evening we got home a bit earlier, like to the hotel, and then we just relaxed for a bit, and afterwards we decided to go out again and get a boba. Me and Alana never had boba before, and now in this holiday I think we had 3 bobas or something. We tried like each different kind of the boba balls or whatever. I don't even know the right terms. But that was actually really nice as well, that the 3 of us just went out for another drink and stuff. So yeah, that was really enjoyable. And the next day we had our best attraction, the one that we enjoyed the most for sure. We had the most laughs and the most smiles, and the vibes were so good and we were so excited and happy. So it was Madame Tussauds. So wax figures of celebrities. Okay, let me start at the beginning of the day, because how we got there was a long story. Is a long story and was a bit complicated. So basically we got to the train station. We bought tickets, blah blah blah. It was quite a big train station. We didn't really know where to go. So we kind of asked a helper, but he wasn't, I'd say, the most helpful. He kind of spoke very fast and unclear and was like, yeah, you need to go here, here, and here, and then you'll get there. And we were like, oh, okay, let's just try. So we went to the first point that he told us to go to, but then we didn't see any train or any sign of Baker Street, because that's the station we needed to go to. So for, I'd say, at least 20 minutes to half an hour, we were trying to find a train that goes to Baker Street. We asked multiple people if they know what train goes to Baker Street, if anyone's going there, and everyone was so friendly. Like, really, everyone was so friendly, and I guess we picked out people that we thought as well would be friendly and helpful. But yeah, all of them also didn't know how to get to Baker Street. There was one couple that was so friendly, and they really, like, they searched things up, they looked at the map, they walked around the train station a bit for us, trying to find a way to Baker Street. Like, they were so friendly, and I'm so grateful for them, because yeah, it was very overwhelming and very unclear. Like, the train stations in Germany, as I remember them, are so much more clear. They say exactly what train goes to, and I don't know, like, this train station was overwhelming, and there was so many people as well, and trains constantly, you know, kept coming. We were like, oh, are we gonna miss it? Like, what's going on? Or then we saw, like, no, apparently our train comes every 3 minutes, but we were like, which one is our train? Yeah, so at some point I did get a bit overwhelmed, and I had to kind of hold back my tears, but I knew as well I was gonna be okay. I was like, I'm safe, you know, even if we don't get there on time, it's fine. Even if we have to walk there, which is an hour walk, it's fine too. And at some point we're gonna get there, like, it's all gonna work out. I knew I was fine, I knew I was safe. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is so horrible, but I did get overwhelmed. I was a bit like, what do we do? Like, this is complicated, how do we get there? So yeah, the 3 of us were then a bit stressed. And yeah, but then we decided again to go to an actual worker of the train station, and this lady was so helpful and so nice, and she really searched up as well, how do we get to Baker Street exactly, and she said each stop She, you know, Amy wrote it down, then she told us exactly where to go, what train goes to where, and it turns out we needed to take 2 trains, so there wasn't a direct train to Baker Street. So that's why no train said Baker Street or, you know, anything like that. So then we followed the steps that this lady had told us to take. We got on the train not knowing exactly if this train goes to Baker Street, but we thought it did because on the sign it said the stops that the train goes to, and Baker Street was on the list, but we weren't sure if this is the exact train. So we asked a woman, do you know if this goes to Baker Street? She said she thinks it does, but she was like, forgive me if I'm wrong. So we chanced it, we went on the train, and then it seemed like the train was going in the opposite direction that we needed to go to. So we were like, oh my god, where are we gonna end up? Like, what's going on? But I was like, no, like, we're gonna get there. I was like, in my mind, like, there's no way we're this wrong. We're gonna get there. So the third stop, which was like after 5-10 minutes, was Baker Street. Whew, we made it. And then we got there, and there was like, I think a violin player. I don't even fully remember what he played, but I just heard some music and I was just so grateful for this player right now. I actually got a bit emotional because I was like, we made it. And then I was like, I need to give this musician some money because I'm just so grateful we made it here. And hearing music and him just, oh my god, it was just a moment where I was like, I want to give him something for this. Yeah, and then we walked out and immediately there was Krispy Kreme donuts. And my wish for my birthday was to get donuts, but on the 4th of July we didn't really find any donuts. So Amy and Delana bought me those donuts then. And oh my god, were they delicious. And so that was like my birthday present from them. Yeah, and then literally right around the corner was Madame Tussauds. And I think by then we were all in a better mood because we were just so happy we made it there. And we were very excited for Madame Tussauds, and we ate the donuts and they were so delicious. And then the people again were so kind, like the workers at Madame Tussauds, the ones that were outside with the really long queue, they were so nice. And we asked, you know, where do we need to go, and they told us where to stand and stuff. And then after like 10 minutes of waiting, I would say all of our attractions went really fast. We thought we would have to wait for a long time in order to get to the attractions, but it all went really fast. Madame Tussauds would be the longest, and that was only like 10 minutes, I would say. Yeah, and then once we were inside, it was like, I don't know, it was so unbelievable. It was like the first celebrity I think we saw was The Rock, so Dwayne Johnson. And we all we all are fans of him, we all know him, we all like a lot of movies that he's in. And then the next ones were Timothée Chalamet, which we don't know that much about, but he was there, and Lady Gaga, and then Zendaya, and oh my gosh. And then what we were like, one of the people we were most excited about was Harry Styles. We like couldn't wait, and we really, really hoped that One Direction was still there, but it sadly wasn't. But it's okay because we had so much fun with all the other ones, and Brad Pitt, and like, oh my gosh, there were so many. Priyanka Chopra, and their Little Mix, the band Little Mix was there, which was so cool as well. And Taylor Swift, Elton John, he was really funny. His wax figure was really funny. Amy and Delana like Drake, so he was there. Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, like, oh my gosh, the amount of celebrities. Millie Bobby Brown, oh my god, I was so excited for that as well. Paddington, like the bear, Paddington Bear was there. I don't know, I could list more and more, but it was so exciting. It, like, Oh my gosh. And it was all kind of a rush because there was so many people and, you know, we didn't want them to have to wait so long for us to take pictures. So we like each one of us either singly went there and then the other ones took pictures and quickly, like we quickly switched, and then sometimes we took selfies with the celebrities with the wax figures. And it was like, yeah, it all went so fast, but for some reason I was just so in the moment that it didn't feel like a rush. It didn't feel like stressful or I need to get somewhere or whatever. It was so enjoyable, and I was so freaking impressed with the wax figures, especially Drake, who I don't even know that well, but he looked like an actual real person. Like, it was insane. I'd say the worst person was Miley Cyrus. That's why I didn't even mention her, because she was also not standing on the ground. She was like up at the tops, I don't know, sitting on an archway or something. And I could not recognize her. And Alana was the one who pointed out, that's Miley Cyrus. I was like, there's no way, that does not look like her at all. But yeah, all the other ones were so impressive, like Queen Elizabeth as well, and Diana and Prince Harry and Meghan. Oh my gosh, they were so impressive. Yeah, and then what was so unexpected, which was like a really like bonus, was that we went through like different sort of worlds as well. So there was a Star Wars world, which was at the very end. I didn't know, like I did not expect that. There was like a world set up based on like criminal actions and criminal people, yeah, based on true stories from the past of what happened, I think, in London, and those people that were their actual murderers and stuff, there was wax figures of them, and it was kind of like a horror tunnel that we had to go through. It was like dark, and there was screams, and there was blood, and there was all of that, but it was so like exciting as well, because I did not expect that to be in Madame Tussauds. I thought all that was there was the wax figures, and that we were going to take pictures with those celebrities. And I was completely fine with that. I was already like, this, the money is so worth it. But then there was that as well. And after that, we sat down on like this little sort of, yeah, train with like, I don't know how to describe it, but we were like in our individual like taxis, and then it was like a really slow, yeah, roller coaster that like brought us through London City in the 18th century or something like that, like many years ago. And that was so cool as well. And there was Shakespeare, and there was all these other figures, and yeah, that was so cool as well. Like, we were in a little like fun park. And after that, we went to watch like a 4D movie. And the movie was like, I'd say 10-15 minutes long only, but again, something I did not expect. So we got these glasses, the 3D glasses, and then we had to wait for quite a while in the queue, but that was fine as well. So we got into like that cinema area, and then like the entire ceiling was basically the screen, even though the main screen was like in front, but the entire ceiling was a screen. It was then a 4D experience, which I did not expect. So we could feel like raindrops on top of us. We could feel the wind at our like legs. We could feel the punches in our back. Obviously everything was really gentle, but it was 4D, and we never watched anything in 4D before. And that was so exciting. Like, we were all so happy and we were so excited. And then, yeah, the last bit was the Star Wars world that we went through as well, and none of us are very familiar with Star Wars, but it was so cool. So yeah, I think we were all in such a good mood after that. And then we went for something to eat, and then after that we went to Piccadilly Circus and also to Chinatown. And in Chinatown there's like an M&M shop as well and stuff. So we did some other things that are like attractions there in London, and all of us weren't very impressed with Piccadilly Circus nor Chinatown, but I think it was also because we barely got to see any of it because it was crowded, and not like a normal day in London, no, because we got trapped in the middle of a Pride festival. We did not expect a festival to be going on there, but I mean, the streets were full. We really had to squeeze through the crowd. And then oh my god, our way back was like about 40 minutes, I think, from Chinatown, but it ended up being probably like 1.5 hours or something, because we had to take a huge detour because the roads were blocked and there was the parade going down and there was so many people, you know, standing there that we wouldn't really have been able to get through anyway. And I think that was a bit stressful and overwhelming because that was something as well we didn't expect at all. And we knew the walk home was already long, like from Madame Tussauds to home would have been an hour, so we were walking an hour in total already. And I don't know, like, it was a lot, let me say, because we also often tried to walk down a road and then that was blocked, so we had to walk all the way back, and then walked down another road and that was blocked, we had to walk all the way back. This happened like 2 or 3 times, I think, and at some point we were like, okay, we just have to take the big detour like around the place. And I was kind of getting frustrated at Amy and Leona because they wanted to go somewhere else than I wanted to go. I was like, guys, you know, we can't go through the crowd, it's way too much. And they were like, no, but we have to get to that side of the road. And then Alana was like, yeah, but well, the other option is going this big detour. And I was like, no, is there not a road in the middle of that? So we were all like, yeah, stressed out at that point and kind of getting annoyed at each other because I felt like they weren't listening to me and they were just walking ahead and things like that. So that was a bit stressful. But honestly, what I'm really proud of is that I didn't let that affect the rest of my day or the rest of the holiday. Usually after that I would have been so tired and so exhausted, and I would have let that affect me for the rest of the holiday, being like, oh my god, that was so stressful and things like that. But as soon as we were out of there, I was out of the stress. Like, as soon as we were out of there, I just completely forgot about the stressful experience, which I'd have to say, even in the moment, even though I was a bit stressed and like a bit like, oh my god, where do we go? I still handled it very well, like much better than I would have in the past. In the past I probably would have had a breakdown there. I would have been like, guys, I need to escape this. But I was like, no, I don't need to escape it. It's very annoying that the roads are blocked and that everything's so full and that we can't get home the way we want to, and that we don't know where to go. That's all a bit annoying. But I was like, we're gonna get home. Like, we have to be able to get through this somehow. So we did. Yeah, and then we were basically at the Big Ben area again. So there we just sat down for a few minutes, like 2-3 minutes, to just take a breath, you know, let our feet kind of cool down a bit and relax from all the walking. And you have to imagine we were walking for so many hours every single day, so our feet were really like hurting at that point. Yeah, but then we walked home, we said goodbye to the Big Ben basically, and yeah, and we arrived home, and then we took a break. And later that evening as well, we went to the same boba shop and we had another boba, and we actually grabbed something to eat as well. So we kind of had a little extra treat for the last evening, and oh my god, the food was delicious, like crazy. It was so yummy and the boba was so nice. And I think that moment between all of us was just really special as well, just celebrating, you know, our last night there, and it was really lovely. And all of us were very sad to go back as well the next morning. We were like, we don't want to. And we actually never went out at night through London, but one of the nights I just went outside because I wanted to see if there's any lights or anything really impressive. And in the distance there was skyscrapers, and they were lit up beautifully. And even though there was only 2 or 3 that I could see, it was all that I needed, because I would have loved to see, you know, London and some of the skyscrapers at night, because it can be so beautiful. But I just needed that little gap between the houses to look at the skyscrapers and see them lit up, and I was like, yeah, that's all I needed. Yeah, and that night I think was one of the funniest nights. Like, we were in a pretty good mood. The night of my birthday, we also laughed a bit, but the last night we laughed the most. And even though we had to get up pretty early the next morning, we still just stayed up laughing and joking around, and yeah, talking about how we're quite sad that we have to go home, but that this is gonna always be memorable. And yeah, and like, I'm so proud of myself, but also my sister Amy especially. I noticed how her confidence grew in this holiday, because she by herself spoke to some people without asking me to do it, or without being like afraid or doubting herself. She just spoke to people, and that's so different. She would have never done that. And I'm so proud as well, because I also spoke to so many strangers and asked them for help, or, you know, things like that. I spoke to the people in the hotel, and we made conversation with our cleaning lady, who was also so nice. And I don't know, like, it was like our confidence grew so much, and we asked some people to take pictures of us as well, and in return we took pictures of them and things like that. It was like so nice. I'm so proud, and I'm so happy we did that, and it's so amazing. And I keep like looking at the pictures and the videos that we took there, and every time I just have to smile and laugh, and I love it. And the three of us also want to make like a proper full video out of this whole experience. We want to make like a YouTube video, I guess, and cut all our single videos into like long, like proper videos. And yeah, like, we want to like edit it as like a London holiday video. So that's really cool as well. And yeah, I have to say I am quite sad to be back, because right now also I'm not, you know, fully sure what I'm going to be doing next. Yesterday, me and Alana and Mom, we drove to a few farms here around the place, and we asked for a job, and they were also so friendly, all of the people we spoke to yesterday, and it was quite a few. And I'm so proud that I did that. And and I didn't have like the thoughts of like, oh my god, I'm scared to work, or what if I have to do something I don't want to do. It's like, no, I can do whatever I want to, and I don't have to work anywhere I don't want to work. And but right now I actually do want to work somewhere for like 1, 2 or 3 days a week, and I'd love to work with animals. There's a greyhound sanctuary near us, and the greyhounds were actually so sweet as well yesterday when we saw them. So yeah, we were at 3 places in total, and 2 places said they're gonna get back to us. So yeah, that's so cool. And yesterday morning I met up with an old colleague of mine who is closer to my mom's age, and they're good friends, I would say. But I also always liked working with her as well. We got along, and we often spoke about nice things. And yesterday then we met up, and it was different because I didn't judge myself around her, which I usually always did, because she's very much a perfectionist. She notices every mistake someone else makes as well as her own mistakes, and she, you know, often pointed them out to me as well. And I'm already a perfectionist, and I already beat myself up when I make mistakes. So when she pointed it out to me, I was like, oh, this is really bad. And yeah, that was always the difficulty with working with her. I always judged myself so much, but I really liked her as a person. Like, she's so friendly, and she's so deep as well, and she really cares. I just can see in her that she really truly cares about the people that she cares about, that she loves, and that are around her. And yesterday, for some reason, I felt like we were actually friends, even though she's a lot older than me, but I felt like we were like friends. And we talked deep the whole time, and I really didn't judge myself, and I was like, I'm absolutely fine, and look how confident I am and how great I am. And because I didn't judge myself, I didn't feel judged by her. I just didn't focus on any judgments, and I didn't even notice any judgments of her. Like, she didn't give me any of those vibes because I also didn't focus on that, and I just enjoyed it being with her. Like, I really genuinely enjoyed it. Yeah, I never enjoyed being with her as much as I did yesterday, even though I always, enjoyed being with her, but yesterday was very special. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the other thing is I watched the series Heartstopper. There's 3 seasons of it on Netflix and 8 episodes each. And I finished it within 3 days. So I watched one full season each day, but I was so into it already by the first episode, and the more I went on, kind of the better it got. And I don't know why, but for some reason it touched me very deeply, and I keep thinking about it now as well. And I started rewatching it again yesterday, even though I just finished it the day before. But it just made me think as well about myself, and not like doubting myself, but kind of just seeing certain things in a different way, and learning to accept myself even more and to love myself even more. And just their love story between the 2 guys, like Nick and what's his name? Between Nick and Charlie is just so genuine. Like, you can just see how much they care about each other and how they really love each other, and it's not just a teenage, like, typical romance that's really just about romance. Theirs is really about caring about each other and taking care of each other, listening to each other, and really talking about things that they're thinking about and that matter to them. It's not all just about like surface level stuff and just, oh, a cool romance. So yeah, and I love that they never broke up throughout all the 3 seasons, which usually that drama is pretty typical in those teenage years. But they just stay together the whole time, because that's how a relationship really can be. If you're, that way, if you're open and honest and you really care about each other, and romance is not, the main priority, but it's like you and them are the main priority, just loving each other. So I don't know, it was so, yeah, eye-opening in many ways, but mainly it just felt so comforting and so accepting, and like, yeah, it was like a nice way of looking at things, like with rose-tinted spectacles. Yeah, and Kit Connor is now my new celebrity crush. He's the one who plays Nick in Heartstopper. So yeah, he also seems quite nice in real life. But yeah. And it's so funny that he's now my age as well. He's 21, like I'm 20, but he's 21. So I remember always having, celebrity crushes and then searching up their age and them being like 21, and I'd be like, oh my God, they're so much older than me. And now it's like, oh my God, they're my age. That is so crazy. I cannot believe that I'm 20. Like, for some reason, it hasn't fully clicked yet. Like, I really felt 19 when I was 19. Like, I really felt that age. But now, 20, it's like, it hasn't fully clicked yet, because I'm like, there's no way I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm like an actual adult. Like, I'm an actual grown-up now. Like, that's just a bit, yeah, scary, I guess, for me to be like, I'm really not a teenager anymore. Like, I'm not 15, 16 anymore, but I still really feel like I'm 18, 19. Like, I'm like as if I was 18 2 years ago, and I'm never gonna be 18 again. Like, that's so crazy, because I'm like, no, I'm still 18 or 19. Like, there's no way, that's just not me anymore. But yeah, I'll get there. I know age is just a number and it doesn't say anything about you. So all of these thoughts are pretty much nonsense. It doesn't mean I'm old just because my age is 20. So I am still me, still the same as I was when I was 19. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourselves, keep going, and yeah, I'd say I'm managing pretty good at the moment, I have to say. Since I'm back from Spain, I haven't had a big blip. I'm managing pretty good. In between, yeah, there's these thoughts, like they were all the time as well during the holiday and stuff, that are a bit more like annoying, I guess, and need a bit more, not attention, because sometimes it's not good to give those thoughts attention, but they need some more effort, I think. But yeah, overall, I'd say I'm really fine. Like, I'm doing fine right now, and yeah, I'm just so happy about that holiday that we had and excited for more holidays like that. Like, that's what life is worth living for, and I'm gonna save up to have more experiences like that. So it's so important to give yourself something to look forward to. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna keep doing, and I'm gonna keep going. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, and until the next time.